I'm back. I have got loads to go through with you on this video today, starting with the fact that I have finally released my debut novel. Am I an author? I'm probably not, no, but I am a bloke that had something to say and I put it on paper and it's published. So that's crazy. I've also just been charity shopping and bought a few books. I'm going to go through these books with you. I know on a recent video I said to you that I weren't going to buy any books anymore, but hear me out. I've just packaged up a box set that I sold on Vinted for like 15 quid, and I've got another box set that I've sold for 10 pounds downstairs. So my theory behind it was that because I sold some books, I could replace them books with some more books. If you are new to my channel, my name's Tyrone. I'm just a normal dude that loves talking about books. If you're returning, I love you the most. Let's get into it. I've changed angle because I just feel like you can see my chins better from this angle. But anyway, we'll start off talking about this. It's a book. It is my book. Oi, go on, Tyrone. Pat on back for me. So this book, I wrote it for a couple of reasons. I kind of kept it hush. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just writing it on stealth, just being a little author on my own. Because if you followed my journey for long enough, you'll know I've been at rock bottom. I've been suicidal. I've not wanted to be here. I've not been enjoying anything. I've had an eating disorder, social anxiety. I've been stuck in the house for months at a time, scared to go out, crying at old ladies. But now I'm not there anymore. And it's beautiful to see so much beauty around me. But I just weren't ready to properly move on to the next part of my life until I did like a full stop. And I'd always said before, I'd never write a book. I've had publishers approach me before and they've said, do you want to write a book? And I've always said, look, I'm not an author. It's just not something I ever aspire to be. So I turned them away. Anyway, this I've done completely on my own. I didn't contact these publishing houses. I didn't contact anyone really because I understand that publishing houses are businesses and I didn't want this book to be a moneymaker. So firstly, I put it on Kindle Unlimited, so it's free for anyone that's on Kindle Unlimited. And then secondly, I priced it at £1 for anyone that's not on Kindle Unlimited because Amazon force you to put a price on. The way Amazon works when you publish a book is you've got two profit margins. You can choose whether you want 35% profit margin or 75% profit margin. But the higher the profit margin you put down, the more you have to charge for your book. So obviously Amazon on their cut as well. Understandably, they're a business. So I put it down at 30 or 35% profit margin, whichever one's the lowest. And the cheapest I could put the book on at was something like 79p. And it just seemed a weird price to me. So I put it on for £1. So anytime someone buys that book, I literally get 35p from it. And if I could have put it on for free, I would have. But again, Amazon are a business. They're not going to allow me to put it on there for free. And it's just wild, crazy to think that I have got a book out there now for the big bad world to see. And I think it's going to save lives. This book ain't going to be no literary masterpiece. Don't get me wrong, I know how to write a book. I love reading, so you kind of pick up a lot of stuff from reading books. But when it comes to fiction books, man won't have a clue how to write a plot, character development, any of that jazz. But with this being, we'll call it like a memoir. It's only short, it's like 20,000 words. I felt it were easy to write because it's just stuff that I had in my head that I put on paper. So it felt quite easy to write. It weren't stressful. It were actually quite therapeutic and calming. And before I put it out into the world, loads of people messaged me. People that have already got like quite established works out there, authors, messaged me and said, dude, you need to be hitting like 60 to 80,000 words. And I was like, nah, I ain't you. Like this book is not about trying to make loads of money from. I don't care. I'll probably never write a book again for the rest of my life. This book, if anything, were about me just putting words on paper, stuff that I needed to say before I can move on to the next part of my life, and just stuff that I've been through in the last 12 months that I think will truly, truly help some people that maybe need it. I think that I needed something like this book in the last 12 months because there were days when I was feeling the worst. I couldn't pick up a book. And this book being like 20,000 words, my wife was reading it in bed last night next to me. And every time she clicked a screen on Kindle, it was going up like 1 or 2%. And I just feel like when you're going through proper rough times, the last thing you want to do is pick up a heavy book. So that was my reasoning behind making it short. But also, I just didn't want wasted words in it. I didn't want to have to try and make it all fluffy and stuff. I wanted it to pack a punch, to say what I needed to say, and then just kind of move on. In my opinion, the people that are probably going to get the most out of this are people that are maybe suffering with mental health problems, people that are suffering with social anxiety, an eating disorder, or just people that are feeling alone at this point in their life, or maybe people that have ever felt alone at some point in their life. So if you want to read it, I honestly think it'll make you laugh, might make you smile, might make you cry, who knows? Just read it. It'll take about an hour, it's not a long book at all. It's free, as I said, on Kindle Unlimited, and if you want to buy it, it's £1. I'm not going to babble on about it anymore because it's there for you to see. As I said, it's not about making money, it's just about trying to save lives and help people, and I truly think this book hopefully will. It's called What Comes After Rock Bottom, as I said. I think another guy actually called Tyrone Reed wrote a book. So if you click on my name, Tyrone Reed, another book comes out about, I don't know, some lasses in bikinis and stuff. That ain't me. So don't buy that book thinking that's me, because that's not me. That's an interesting book cover as well. Right, I've done babbling now about the fact that I wrote a book. But I have wrote a book. Anyway, I've been charity shopping today because, like I said, I wanted to treat myself. So I drew a bit of cash out from Bank Machine and I got these books. I'm going to talk to you about every single book that I bought. First book, it's a bit battered, knackered. That's a thick in it. See if you can guess what book it is by how thick it is. It is horror. And it's a person that I've told you time and time again, I don't like him. Or, not that I don't like him, but I just struggle with his writing. Dum, dum, dum. Stephen King's It. So, I've given up on Stephen King, and I've spoke to you in a previous video about the fact I had that box set, and that I was going to try. I just can't do it. He waffles, which completely makes no sense at all, because I'm saying to you now, the man's a waffler, I can't get on with him, he just goes on and on and on, and I bought a 1,000-page book. I'm mental. The reason I picked this up is because I've never seen this in a charity shop, and it were £1. So I thought, I've actually never seen the film It. Not the original one anyway. And I've heard so many people talk about it saying it's very good. But it's not just a horror story. It's meant to be like a coming of age story. All about like friendship and yada yada yada. So I picked it up anyway because I'm a bit of a sheep. And I don't know when I'll read it, but at some point I will. Next up, I got Housemaid's Secret. I read Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I thought it was okay. I'd probably rate it like 3.5 stars. I actually guessed the twist because I'm a bit of a detective. So, I don't know. I think that's the reason I rated it so low, because I actually saw the twist coming. But I know I've said on one of my previous videos before, whenever I'm reading a thriller book, I just point to everyone. I'm just like, they've all done it. So, by the time the twist comes, is it fair to say that I've guessed the twist? I don't know. But I felt like I guessed it anyway. I am told that this one is actually better than The Housemaid. So I picked it up because this was from Salvation Army, and Salvation Army do 4 books for £1. So I was like, I'm going to pick that up because that was book 3. I was struggling to find books, so I was like, well, I might as well get that because it's 25p in it. So 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I've not read anything by this author before. I don't know if I've actually read it out before, but I have seen this programme scattered about on Netflix, and I think it's about, doesn't someone like someone goes to Jesus and then they've done some tapes about why they did it. I don't know if it's maybe more than that. Shall we just read it? Ray Jensen doesn't want anything to do with the tapes Hannah Baker made. Hannah died 2 weeks ago. Her secret should be buried with her. Then Hannah's voice explains there are 13 reasons why she died, and Clay is one of them. Oh, Clay, you barstool. If he listens, he'll learn that he is in some way responsible for her death. All through the night, Clay keeps listening. He follows Hannah's recordings, words around the town, and what she discovers will change life forever. That's crazy. That's so crazy. So, yeah, I don't know if this is giving like, what's that book called by Holly Jackson? I've got it down there. Something about school. I don't know. You probably know anyway. But yeah, this is giving like school murder mystery vibes. I don't know. If you've read it, tell me. I don't got a clue. I just picked it up again because it was part of a 4 for £1 thing. Natives by Akala. So Akala is a UK rapper, but he's a big activist as well. He talks about loads of different like pressing matters. He talks about like the conflict between Israel and Palestine. He talks about loads of other stuff, but he's big on like black history as well. So for any of you that don't know, and you wouldn't guess it, would you? Because I've got a ginger beard. My granddad's Jamaican. So my dad's half Jamaican, I'm quarter Jamaican, which just means that I've got dark eyes and that I tan well. And that's about as interesting as it gets. But I'm starting to try and learn about my family's history because I find it quite interesting. I was raised by my mum, who's white. All my family are white, and I ain't got a clue really about black history, other than the fact that I watched Roots growing up because I had a black friend called Fabian, and Fabian's mum was like, "Oi, mate, you need to look up on your history." So she forced me to sit down and watch Roots, which is a program out maybe in the 80s or something about a slave called Kunta Kinte, and it's all about how he was enslaved in his life, and that's really good. But other than that, I've just not read much about it because I suppose when you're raised by a white woman, you kind of become ignorant to the fact that there is maybe other history out there. So anyway, I'm going to stop babbling on about it. This is this fella's book about what it's like to be black in Britain. So yeah, we'll see what that's like. It's meant to be really good. It's got wicked reviews on Goodreads, and the audio book to this, he actually narrates as well. And I love how he talks. He's really like eloquent. Like he's just got a way with words. He's the kind of man that like when you hear him do debates and talk about people, you just like, go on, Akala. Yeah. You just want to get on his side. Last book that I got, a man named Uwe, or a man called Uwe. I spoke to you about this film before. Tom Hanks did a film called A Man Named Otto, which was the one that made me ugly cry. Like the ending I didn't see coming. It's built up in a way that you think you're going to get the ending that you want, and you're like, yes, yes, he's found his community, yes. And then the author to the film / book is like, haha, nope. So Frederick Backman writes a few books that get like really good reviews. He's got one called Beartown, which I've not read yet. I think that's about a hockey team in Sweden or something like that. He's got Anxious People that I read recently. That was really good. I got a snotty nose. I hope you can't see my snotty nose. Let me just swipe my snotty nose off camera. I'm not going to lie to you. I wiped my snotty nose with my hand. What a tramp. So this, A Man Called Uwe, is about a man who lost his wife and is basically just like a miserable man. Like imagine a grumpy 55, 60-year-old man who goes around town and he's just like, I hate you, get away, you're all tramps, get away, hate you, bar humbug. He's that guy. And a family of, I don't know if they're like Spanish, Latino, whatever, they move in across the road from him. And on the film, at least, when they move in, he's like, oh, no, what are you doing? Get away. No, you can't be around here, you nuisance. But just before, this is not really a spoiler because this is in the film, just before they come in and start like messing up his community because he tries to like keep community in order, he's just about to unalive himself. He's got rope, noose, everything. He's ready to go see Jesus. And they come at the time when he's just about to do it, and he doesn't end up doing it. He ends up falling, and then he goes out, and the film, at least, is all based on around him just trying to help others. And it's beautiful. It made me, like, ugly cry. Like, I had snot coming down my face. It were minging. So I picked this one up anyway for two reasons. One, because I've been meaning to read this book. But two, I've not seen this cover before. I've seen a cover which, if you've read this book, you'll have seen this cover. Let me see if I can find this cover. You see that? That's the cover I've seen in past. Never seen this cover before. Maybe I'm first person to ever own it. Who knows? So that's what I bought from Charity Shop. They cost me, for all them 5 books, cost me a whole £2. What a bargain that is. You know me, I love a bargain. I'm tight as oak. I squeak when I walk. I'm like a robot. I need oiling. So I don't know when I'm going to read them, but I am in a predicament at the moment because I need to find a new book to read, and I don't know what I want to read. So I am currently listening to Fourth Wing because Onyx Storm comes out next month. Yay, dragons. Can't wait for that, but I've not read Iron Flame yet. So I'm listening to Fourth Wing just to remind myself how fantastic that book is. For anyone that has not read Fourth Wing, I think it's best romantic book out there. Honestly, I don't think any others come close. I don't think Akatar's anywhere near as good. I think it's just a fun time. And I see a lot of people online who are like, oh yeah, but it's just a mishmash of loads of other books. It's like Divergent, which I've not read, / Akatar / Harry Potter. And I'm like, well, that sounds amazing to me. So I think it's amazing. If you haven't read Fourth Wing. It's about a girl called Violet Sorrengale who goes to a dragon school. She's destined to be a scribe, which is like a bit of a book nerd that works in libraries. That's what her dad did. But her mum is like, your dad's dead. You are not being a scribe. You are going to be a dragon rider. But she's like, Mum, I'm weak. I've got EDS. I break all the time. Like, if I sneeze, I pull my back out. I can't ride dragons. And her mum's like, well, if you don't, you die. And she's like, whoa, that's a bit much, Mum. So anyway, she goes into this school. And it's safe to say she comes up against some trials and tribulations, but she gets through stuff. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but it's about this girl who's got a hidden disability and her adventure to get through all these challenges, to bond with a dragon. And it's insane. I think it's so much fun. And if you disagree with me, read it again, because you're probably wrong. Now, towards the end of the book, it does get more political. I'm not going to give anything more away than that, but it does get more political. There is like a world outside of Basgiath, which is the War College, and it introduces you to that towards the end. I'm told that Iron Flame, which is book 2, gets more into the politics and the war and stuff like that behind it. But there's dragons in it, isn't there? Who don't want a book with dragons in it? Speaking of dragons, I've actually never read Eragon, and I've got the full Eragon series on my shelf. So if that's class, tell me and I'll read it, because I know that the author that wrote that apparently was 16 when he wrote the first book. How crazy is that? 16. At 16-year-old, I was still like playing knock-a-door run and edge hopping, and he were writing books that are like bestsellers. That is crazy. I need to get my life together. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. How wild is that? 35, and I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I hope I meet a teacher one day from school, because they used to ask you that question, didn't they? And I'll see him now, and I'll be like, just so you know, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Anyway, that's where I am right now. So I need to find my next read, and I don't know what I'm in the mood for. I've got so many books that I keep picking up and then putting down. I picked up Puppet Show last night by M.W. Craven, because I actually forgot what happens in that book. So I don't know if I want to reread that before I get into his series. I've finished Way of the Kings recently as well. I forgot to tell you about that. Way of the Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 1 in the Stormlight Archive. I don't know if you've noticed, but I am quite wired today. Way of the Kings by Brandon Sanderson was one of the best books I've read this year. It is wild. If you are thinking about getting into Brandon Sanderson's work, just do it, dive in. I know that some of these books can be scary because they're like this thick and they're massive. I think Way of the Kings was like 1,100 pages, but it was 1,100 pages of just awesomeness. It was wicked. And you would think, being an epic fantasy book, that there's too many characters. There's not. And what he does in his books, he does like different parts for each book. So some of the parts only follow like 2 or 3 characters, and then the next part might follow a different 2 or 3 characters. It's just perfect, in my honest opinion. I think most of you, if you enjoy fantasy in any way, shape or form, would adore that book. And one of the character arcs and the storylines in that book follows a lad called Kaladin, who used to be like a warrior, but he's been captured, we'll say, and he's now a slave. And he's a slave that works on a team called Bridge 4. So they have, when they go to war, they have all the warriors behind, and then they have bridgemen. And these bridgemen, it's their job to carry these big bridges and walk to these like gaps. I can't think what they're called, but imagine like there's a big mountain here and a mountain here, and then there's a fuck off drop. Yeah, they put bridges across this gap, so that all warriors behind can walk across and then go and have a great fight with everyone. They're like, come on then, you Pashendis. Yeah. So Kaladin's job is to make sure that they've got a bridge to get across, and all at Bridgemen just take arrows. They're just walking along like, oh, we're here with bridges, and Pashendi, who are the enemy, are like, yeah, with bows and arrows, just yeeting arrows at them and unaliving all at Bridgemen. So his story is all about how he's bringing all these bridgemen together and making them more than just cannon fodder, and it's wicked. It's one of the best character arcs I've read in any book ever. So yeah, maybe I'm fanboying a little bit here, but I am definitely feeling a bit of Brandon Sanderson at the minute, because his newest book is out. Like the last book in the Stormlight Archive has just come out, and I've got it. I know I've got it because Ellie's bought it me for Christmas, and it's downstairs, but she just won't let me put it on my shelf yet. I think it's a bit tight. I'm 35. I should be allowed to just put it on my shelf. But anyway, so I need to get into Words of Radiance, which is book 2 of the Stormlight Archive. I also need to get into book 2 of Dungeon Crawler Carl, because you know I love me Dungeon Crawler Carl. That book was insane. It was hilarious. So hopefully by next time we speak, anyway, I'll be able to tell you what I've started reading, because I think I'm about done now. I obviously had a lot to say today, and I've about said it, I think. So I'll come back to you soon once I've decided what I'm going to read next. I'll speak to you later. In a bit. Bye. I've picked this one. This is what I'm reading next. I've decided 13 Reasons Why. I've just been crying, so if my eyes are a bit bloodshot, then that's why. You know me, I love a good cry. It was happy tears this time, actually. I just got a lovely message from one of my followers on Instagram who said that they'd read my book and that today it brought them closer to God. And I don't know why it hit so hard. It did. I just started sending a couple of videos backwards and forwards. And I don't know, I think I said something about the book. For me, this book, the numbers mean absolutely jack. Sugar honey iced tea. Don't care about how many it sells. I do care about saving lives. And I said, for me, the only thing that I'd love to come from this book is if one shop would be willing to take a chance on it and put it in the shop, I'd love to walk into that shop with my kids and buy my book off a shelf in front of my children, because over this last 12 months, my kids have watched me break as a man, as a father. You know, they've watched me crumble. They've seen me cry. They've seen me being unable to come out of the house. And they've witnessed that. And that can't be hard for young children. You know, I've got a 14-year-old, 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. Well, actually, my 10-year-old was 11 just. But for them to actually watch their dad, their protector, provider, caregiver, break, must have been hard for them. So I'd love nothing more than to give them a bit of something back and say, you know, you've watched me at my lowest, but this is me at my highest. Watch me buy my book. So yeah, I had a little cry. But I love a cry. You know me, gag for cries. I think crying is just so helpful. And it turns out I'm an empath. I found out recently that apparently I feel people's emotions extremely rawly. That's why I sometimes maybe go a bit over the top when it comes to trying to help others. And I feel a sense of guilt if I feel like I'm not helping others, especially when it comes to my socials and things like that. But yeah, could be worse, I suppose. I cried loads yesterday as well. I don't know if you do this every now and again, but I'll be scrolling, like in a bit of a doom scroll, and I come across them videos of American soldiers. It's always American soldiers that are coming back from war, because Americans are like different, aren't they, when it comes to love for country and the military. Like, the American military is just so embedded into their culture, whereas in England it's kind of not, which sucks really. I think as Brits we don't really support our military enough. I don't think we give enough encouragement for the people that are serving, and religion's not that big in the country anyway. But anyway, I digress. So I've watched loads of their videos where like American soldiers are coming home and the kids see them for the first time, and then they run up to them and then they cry and then I cry. Them videos just ruin me. But ruin me in such a good way. It just reminds me like how important family is and community and love, and I'm just so happy today. So happy. So yeah, anyway, I've decided to read this 13 Reasons Why, just because it were there and I couldn't be bothered to look through my bookshelf. So I'll keep you updated and I'll tell you how class it is or in. Yeah, not really got what else to say today. I think I just wanted to come on and babble. Sometimes we have them days, don't we? And I know I say to you a lot of the time, look, if you don't like the babbling videos, just tell me. But a lot of you seem to like them, and I like them. I need it. So you're going to have to accept it, I guess. Or go to another channel. Don't go to another channel. I've said this before. My dad left me when I was a baby and I've got separation anxiety. Do you remember these, by the way? Chubba Chubs. Ellie bought some back from town the other day, and I ate all mine, and I've just been in her drawer outside her bed, and I saw that she had some leftovers, which obviously husband logic is, oh, that must be for me, which it's not. It's just that she wasn't greedy and she didn't eat them all at once. This one is vanilla flavour, my favourite flavour, I think. They did a chocolate and vanilla flavour and a strawberry and cream flavour. Oh, they're banging, but I've already ate them. So I'm going to eat this now and then read my book. Depending on how long I've taken so far in this video, I might wrap it up. Don't know. Who knows? I've got no plans for this video today. How have you all been recently anyway? While I'm trying to open this, I thought I'd ask that. Mental health and stuff. If you've had any struggles, again, I can't always come back to every single comment, but I have noticed that you lot are wicked with each other within the comments. So if you are struggling, just voice it in comments, because even if I can't get back to you, because I've got a lot of stuff to try and catch up with, someone will always come back to you. I keep saying it. This community that we've built isn't about coming on my page and watching my videos. I truly believe that we have built the safest, coolest spot on the internet. And I challenge anyone to come prove me wrong, because there are some unbelievable human beings that I have met across my other socials and this YouTube as well. And you just blow me away every single day. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up now, because I'm just going to be sat reading this, and I'm not going to do reaction videos. Tell me what you want to see next time anyway. I might do another bookshop video, because I've got a plan. I want to go to a bookshop and record it and stuff. So if you want to see one of them, yeah, let me know, tell me. If you want to see something different, book haul, tell me. I'll just do whatever. I'm here for you lot. If you've watched till this point anyway, I love you the most. I'll see you in a bit. Bye, Felicia.